We are officially here and ready to predict week 1 of the NFL in 2023. It's been quite the offseason, had a lot of moves. Teams are looking very different. New head coaches in different places, lots of new rookie quarterbacks, and it's time to finally give our week 1 predictions, our official week 1 predictions, and I'm pumped up. I have quite a few upsets in here today. You might be surprised by a few of them, but honestly, I'm just excited for the season. I cannot wait. And, if you guys enjoy predictions, power rankings, NFL content in general, this is a place for you to be because we're gonna be doing picks and power rankings every single week. So stick around, hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to join the Discord and Twitter. And that's all I really got from me. Feel free to follow along in the comment section. I'd be happy. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on all the games. Drop the teams for the matchups. Give me your predictions in the comment section below. Follow along with me. And the first game we have here is the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Cleveland Browns. So it seems the Bengals always start out very slow, and the Browns are also a much better team when a lot of people are giving them credit for. People aren't even looking the Browns' way this year, but the Browns are going to be a very good football team. Now, I could definitely see a scenario where the Browns win this game. Nick Chubb runs wild, although, the Bengals' run defense is very good. The Browns have a very talented defense. Bengals' offensive line is a little suspect at times. You do have a good running back with Joe Mixon. Phenomenal receivers. So I've heard that Joe Burrow is going to be ready to go for week 1. So that's going to definitely make a difference. But I know I've seen some people picking the Browns. I think that's overthinking it. I think that the Browns are going to be a very good football team, and I can absolutely see it. It's week 1. Bengals typically start slow, and maybe Joe Burrow isn't 100%. But I think, Deshaun Watson and that offense, I think they're going to take a couple of weeks to warm up maybe. I know they have a ton of weapons. Watson is great. Hopefully Watson can knock that rust off, but maybe week 1 he's still knocking it off, and, maybe he's fully back and the old Deshaun Watson we used to know in weeks 3 or 4. But right now, I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals will beat the Browns 31-21. So maybe 31-21. Maybe that's a little more of a difference than a lot would expect. But I think Joe Burrow and his weapons, how great his weapons are, they could get the ball out quick. Even though Joe Burrow might be hurt, it could maybe affect his balance, affect his accuracy. But he's saying he's ready to go. And I think Joe Burrow is one of those guys to be able to play through an injury with like it's nothing. Very confident, cool, calm, collected. I see the Cincinnati Bengals coming out with this one with a win, a 10-point victory, which can seem quite a lot, but I just think the Bengals are going to come out strong this time. They're going to change the narrative a little bit. All right, next game we got here is the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons, another divisional matchup. I have the Falcons winning this. Now, this may be a lot more points that are actually scored in the game, but I do like both of the offenses. I like Bryce Young, and I like all of the weapons that he has to work with. He has Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, Laviska Shenault, Terrace Marshall. There's a lot of guys in this offense that you're looking, that you're hopefully, you're looking towards, and hopefully maybe one of them can step up. We know Adam Thielen provides that nice veteran presence. They have DJ Chark as well. They have a lot of really nice weapons in that offense, and I would not be shocked if the Panthers did find a way. I think Bryce Young is a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder. We'll see how the running back game turns out with Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders. I think it'll be fine, but I think the Atlanta Falcons defensive line is going to be too much for the running game. The Panthers don't have a good interior. They have very good tackles. Their interior is not very good, and the Falcons have a very good interior with Grady Jarrett. Let's see if the Falcons can get some pressure on Bryce Young. If they can't get pressure on Bryce Young might eat alive this Panthers passing defense. Now, you do have A.J. Terrell as a phenomenal cornerback, but I think having that interior pressure Grady Jarrett is going to have the biggest impact on Bryce Young, more so than the Panthers defense might have on Desmond Ridder. Although the Panthers defense is actually very good, so maybe I do have the scores a little high here, but it's week 1, and offense is typically way easier early on in the season because there's not much tape out. There's offenses, it's just a lot easier for the offenses in the beginning of the year. Not like I said, not much tape. Defenses are still getting in shape. So I'm gonna take the Falcons in this one. I'm gonna trust the weapons, and the Panthers do have J.C. Horn, but you don't know who's gonna be on the other side. And the Falcons, you have A.J. Terrell, who's gonna be on the other side. But I think the Falcons may be able to get a little more pressure. Although the Panthers have Brian Burns, they have a few guys on that front. But I just think that the Falcons have a little more firepower on offense, and I think that's going to be the difference. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons in this one. All right, we already did that one. I don't know why they showed up again. Number 3, we have another divisional matchup, quite a few in Week 1, and we have the Indianapolis Colts facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. This could be a trap game, 100%. I could see a scenario where the Indianapolis Colts actually do win this game. Now, the Colts can come out strong. Maybe they'll come out strong. I don't know if this defense is going to be able, defense-wise, I don't know. Offensively, I think so. I think they're going to run the ball really well. They might run the ball 40 times this game. It's just a matter of fact of Anthony Richardson and not knowing how he will be able to pass the ball. We know he's got a cannon. We know he could run a lot. And he's Frank Reich, but the Indianapolis Colts offense, can the offensive line bounce back? We got weapons in Michael Pittman Jr. They have weapons there, but, can anyone else step up besides Michael Pittman? It's just a matter of fact of how unexperienced and how bad this Colts secondary is. Trevor Lawrence has never had any problem against the Colts, and now the secondary is worse. The Jaguars are just a better team in general, and we all know that. Even if the Colts do win this game, the Jaguars are still the much better team. It's just a week 1 trap game. I mean, the Colts are at home. It is week 1. Crazier things have happened, but honestly, this is how I see the game going. I don't see the Colts having a very good game, a very good day versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, defensively especially. The Colts might have to put up 40-plus points to win this game. As you see, I have the Jaguars scoring 38. They could definitely score more for how inexperienced the secondary is. Trevor Lawrence has a lot of really nice weapons with Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Jamal Agnew. Don't forget they have Travis Etienne coming out of the backfield, and they have Tank Bigsby, who can be a very good, nice change of pace back for the Jaguars. So Anthony Richardson might throw an interception or two. Jaguars defense is pretty good. Jaguars offense is pretty good. As I said, they're overall just much better as a football team, and I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one, although I do see a scenario where the Colts do find a way to upset them. It's week 1. Crazier things have happened. But looking at it from a matchup standpoint and just who I think is better and who I think is going to win the game and what the score is going to be, it should be the Jaguars all day long. Next matchup we have here is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Minnesota Vikings. This may look like a little bit of an upset. I know a lot of people are picking the Vikings, and the Vikings are favored by quite a bit. But I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a really good defense. Now, the Vikings have a really good offense. You have Captain Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, the rookie, and Jordan Addison. You did lose Dalvin Cook, but the offensive line is getting better. It's very good. You have TJ Hawkinson. You have a bunch of weapons on that offense, but don't forget the Buccaneers defense is very good, and I think that defense is going to do very good against the Minnesota Vikings week 1. You don't have Dalvin Cook. The offense actually looks quite similar, except the Jordan Addison addition. I think the offense looks quite similar, and I think the Buccaneers defense is going to have a pretty good outing, and I'm having the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pulling off the upset against the Minnesota Vikings in week 1. Now, we don't know what we're going to see from Baker Mayfield. There's no tape on this offense with Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, but it's going to be Baker Mayfield. And I'm not sure if Mike Evans is playing. I think he is, but you have Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. You do have Rashad White. I do really like Sean Tucker, the rookie running back out of Syracuse. The offensive line is okay. It's not great, but how is Baker Mayfield going to play? It seems Baker Mayfield definitely has those games where he was very good, and I think he's going to have a strong start to the season. Will he be able to keep it up? Probably not. Once the film gets out on this offense and such, Baker Mayfield will probably start struggling, but I would like to see Baker Mayfield make a career resurgence. I think he absolutely can. He has a talent to be a phenomenal quarterback, but he's not very coachable, and he lets the media and everything else get to his head. Seems like he lets all the pressure get to him, and I love the fire. I know he's a little cocky and he's a little loud, but I like that kind of fire in a quarterback. I honestly think he's a good leader. on the field, but off the field, I don't think he's a good leader. I think he probably, I think he's good with his teammates. He just really struggles with the media and, the outside noise. Hopefully he can learn how to put that behind him, because I think Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. I think he can be a good quarterback. He hasn't been good at all, but I think he can be. So I'm taking Tampa Bay to upset the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings defense is still that good. I think they still have a lot of holes in that defense. So I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to upset the Vikings in week 1. Next matchup we have here is the Tennessee Titans and the New Orleans Saints. As you see, I have messed up the color of the rectangles or the squares. The Titans one should be green and the Saints one should be red, since I have the Titans with the winning score. So Tennessee Titans here. Tennessee Titans are a very good. Hold on, I don't know why I was about to say a very good football team, but this team is going to win games with their defenses alone. Now, I know I said that defense is very difficult at the beginning of the season, but I think this Titans defense is so talented. I don't think they're going to have that much of an issue, because Derek Carr and his receivers are still going to be adjusting to each other as well. So how is Dennis Kelly? I think it's Dennis Allen. How is Dennis Allen going to continue to improve this team? He got his feet wet last year. Hopefully he can do a little better last year. He was okay, wasn't great. Hopefully he can take the next step and help his team take the next step. I like Derek Carr. He's a very good quarterback, and the Saints have some good weapons. They have a decent offensive line, good running backs. We're not going to have Kamara or Kamara, however you say it, or however you choose to say it. Derrick Henry could win this game all by himself. Although the Saints, running defense is decent. Although last year it wasn't great, and that's usually one of their strengths. And I hope they can get back to it this week. Will they? I'm not, or this year will they? I'm not sure. They did draft a few guys. I'm completely blanking on who they drafted. I think it was one of the guys out of Clemson. He is a good player too. I think he could definitely help this run defense. You have Cameron Jordan. He is, kind of on father time right now. He is in the twilight of his career. Definitely has been taking a step back recently, but he definitely provides a nice veteran presence on that edge. And I believe they drafted Isaiah Foskey. I believe he's an edge rusher out of Tulane. He could end up making a big enough impact. But I think the Titans are going to take this one. I do like Derek Carr and think he's a very good quarterback. But he's not going to be the reason you win or the reason you lose. I think he is one of the best game managers we've ever seen. But then at the same time, he's the only reason why anyone talked about Las Vegas or Oakland over the past decade. Without Carr, they probably would have been like the Cleveland Browns, having a new head coach every couple of years. And he did have a good offensive line, some good weapons like 2 or 3 years there, but that was about it. Derek Carr is a decent quarterback, and if you give him some nice pieces around him like they have, can Michael Thomas stay healthy? Can Chris Olave continue to, can he pick up the momentum he had last year? Can he pick up the success that he had from last year? I'm unsure, and I'm not confident in the Titans offense that much either, but I'd take Derrick Henry, and I don't think their offense line is very good, but Derrick Henry can win this game single-handedly on his own, and the Titans do have some weapons in Hopkins, and can Treylon Burks take the next step this year? Could he stay healthy? I think the Titans can be a decent football team this year. I think maybe 5, 6, 7 wins is my prediction, but I think they start the season with the win. Usually they start the season slow, but I'm saying, they change it up this year a little bit, and they start the season on a strong note, and they beat the New Orleans Saints. Now, I think the Saints are going to get better as the season goes on. They have a good quarterback, but he's still adjusting to a new system and all that type of stuff. So I'm absolutely going to take the Tennessee Titans here. There might be a bit of an upset because a lot of people have the Saints, but I'm taking the Titans in this one. It's week 1. A lot of weird things can happen. Next matchup we have here is this. All right, you got the Steelers and the 49ers. I don't know what I was going to say. The Steelers and the Niners. This can be a better game than what I am putting down here, but ultimately I think the 49ers are the much better football team. They have a very good defense. They're very well sounded, very good, very well coached. Now, I'm not saying the Steelers aren't well coached. They are very well coached. They have one of the best coaches in the league in Mike Tomlin, one of the better coaches to do it, honestly, in my opinion. He's a very good head coach. He's going to get that defense rolling pretty strong. But I think Brandon Ayuk, Brock Purdy, I'm not sure if George Kittle is going to play, but you do have Ross Dwelly. sitting behind him who can be all right. He has proven to be a pretty good backup to George Kittle. Has come in a couple of times and had some pretty good games. But I think this 49ers team is just going to be too much for Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. I like Kenny Pickett. I think he's good. But the 49ers defensive line is absolutely insane. It's absolutely incredible. And the Steelers offensive line is still young and improving. So I think the pressure can get to Pickett a little bit. Might throw a pick or two, might fumble once or twice. I can see Kenny Pickett having a rough day. But I think Kenny Pickett is going to have a good season, just not to start the season. I don't have a lot of faith in the Steelers team versus the 49ers. Although I do think that this Steelers team can be very good this year, much better than what people are anticipating. I just think that this 49ers team is much better. I would take Brock Purdy over Kenny Pickett. I would take, Kenny Pickett does have some nice weapons. You can just throw it up to George Pickens, and Pickens will find a way. Maybe the Niners secondary isn't as good, but they might not need it that bad if their defensive lines can get home and really pressure Pickett. It definitely helps the secondary. We've seen with this 49ers defense, they have not, and I see that I completely screwed up the gradient. That's not red, that is freaking blue. But nonetheless, I think the 49ers are going to take this one home 31-20. It could be much closer than this. But I'm going 31-20. I think the Niners can really put a whooping on the Steelers. It is week one, early in the season, but the Steelers do have some good talent on the defense side of things. They have a very good defense line. They can generate lots of pressure. But Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, phenomenal at scheming, very creative. I think the Niners come away with this one. If it is not an 11-point game, I could definitely see it being much closer than this. Might be a little bold to say it's an 11-point game, but I think the Niners are just a very good football team. Number 7, Washington Commanders and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals not having Kyler Murray, even if they did have Kyler Murray, we'd still wouldn't think they would be a great team. They don't have a good offensive line. They have James Conner. Receivers-wise, what do they really have there that can, who's going to step up? The Commanders have a decent team. They have some good cornerbacks. They have a good defensive line, have a decent offense. I like Sam Howell. I just think the Commanders are going to be a bit too much for this Cardinals team. Now, 17 might even be a lot for the Cardinals. Maybe they score 13 or 14. But as I mentioned before, it is week one, and defenses, it takes a little bit of time for defenses to sometimes adjust, get into shape, and you get some film out there on these teams. And I could see the Cardinals scoring a little more than what some people may expect, even though 17 isn't a lot. I'm unsure if Clayton Tune or Joshua Dobbs is starting. I think they're kind of keeping it a secret unless they've mentioned it. If Clayton Tune starts, whoever does start, I don't think there's going to be that much of a difference. I'm taking the Commanders 27-17. Next one we got here is the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. So this is probably the worst time that the Houston Texans could have played the Baltimore Ravens. I was thinking about picking the Texans for an upset. It's week one. Weird things happen, but I just think that this Ravens team is too good. And I have said I think that the Texans are going to be much better this year than anticipated. They have a lot of really good pieces on that team. Can C.J. Stroud continue? Can he take the next step? Could he take the first step? Actually, it would be a better choice of words. It's just I think this Baltimore's defense is going to be way too much for them. They're going to get pressure. The Texans' offensive line is not very good. They're going to get a lot of pressure on them. They're going to get some interceptions, maybe a fumble or two. I think the Ravens are really going to give C.J. Stroud a hard time. Although the Texans do have some really good weapons. They have some really good receivers and a good tight end in Dalton Schultz, in my opinion. Have a good running back in Dameon Pierce. It's just my issue is, this Ravens defense is going to be way too much for a rookie quarterback and C.J. Stroud. Now, Stroud can come out and surprise us, and I would love to see it. I would love to see the Texans pull out the wing. I think it would be pretty cool to see the Texans come out right away and just shock everyone, but I think the Ravens just have way too much on offense. I think, the secondary for the Texans can take the next step, but this Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson, Odell, I think it's going to be too much for the secondary. You do have Steven Nelson. Maybe Derek Stingley can take the next step this year, second-year cornerback out of LSU. I think he went to LSU. But I don't think there's any need to overthink this one. It was overthinked by me. I overthink every single game. But I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens 27-10. I could really see the Baltimore Ravens just absolutely killing the Texans just because of how young they are. I can also see Will Anderson, having a nice game, or the Texans keeping it close. But I honestly think that the Ravens are going to win this game. maybe, me putting that 20 there is, maybe the Texans score a last minute touchdown and they ultimately just make the score look a little bit better, but ultimately they got dominated most of the game. I can see that happening. Next game we have here is another divisional matchup, one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. I'm picking the Green Bay Packers to beat the Bears because I think the Packers are much better. When you look at the matchup and you look at the game a little bit, both sides, depth charts on paper, I think the Packers look better. They have a good defense, and I think they can keep Justin Fields in check on the ground. Maybe difficult, like I said. Defense is very difficult early on in the season. But I think they could struggle against Justin Fields on the ground. They can maybe, in the first half, Justin Fields running wild. I can see the Packers adjusting and Justin Fields being calmed down. And, when he gets calmed down, because you can't run it with the quarterback every play, Justin Fields is going to have to throw it at some point. And I am still a little skeptical about the Bears passing game. I think Fields can be a good quarterback. He can. It's either Fields is gonna be is gonna have a top 10 quarterback performance this year, or after this year he's gonna be a backup, whether it's in Chicago or someplace else. Maybe someone else will take a shot on him, or they'll give him another year yet. It'll only be the second year, so they'll probably give him more time. But I think Justin Fields still has a way to go on passing the football. Now you did give him some reliable weapons, and he does have some reliable weapons. The newly added DJ Moore, very good route runner. You have Darnell Mooney on the other side, money with 2 O's. Darnell Mooney is a very good receiver. I think he's very underrated. Cole Kmet, nice big body target for Justin Fields. My problem is Justin Fields. I cannot bank on Justin Fields taking that jump yet. And I don't think he will. This Packers defense is actually very good, and it's a matchup with the young quarterbacks in the NFC North. But I think Jordan Love is gonna come out on top in this one. Now it is in Soldier Field. The Bears are at home. It's early in the season, week 1. You never know, and this is a 50-50 game. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it can be. But I honestly think that the Green Bay Packers just have the much better team. Maybe not much better, but I think it's a better team matchup wise. Overall. Now I did put 26. May seem a little bit weird of a score, but I can see them kicking a lot of field goals. I can see the Packers having having some struggles in the red zone. Not having Aaron Rodgers is the Packers without Aaron Rodgers are gonna be weird, and I think they're gonna have a bit of a difficult time converting in the red zone. They don't know who's gonna step up at receiver. Christian Watson's a big guy, can go up and get it, but we need to see him. Hopefully he can take the next step and be a little more consistent and a little more reliable. You have Romeo Doubs. I'm excited for him. I think he's a good receiver out of Nevada. I mean, they have Luke Schumacher, Tucker Kraft. Those guys can be red zone threats, but Jordan Love being, not very inexperienced, but a bit inexperienced. I can see the Packers struggling to punch it in for 7, but they may kick enough field goals, and I may be very wrong, but I'm taking the Green Bay Packers over the Chicago Bears in this one. Now, is this one my big surprise? No, my big surprise might be the next one or the one after that. So, next up, we have another divisional matchup. As I said, there are a lot of divisional matchups. We have the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, a lot of videos I've seen, I'm seeing everyone taking the Broncos, just, taking the line, taking them in the game, everything. And I think the Raiders are actually going to pull this one out. The Raiders defense may not be as impressive as the Broncos. The Raiders defense might be pretty bad, but will this Broncos team be ready? Will they be prepared? They're still learning under Sean Payton. It takes a little while to learn the system, and Sean Payton knows Russell Wilson's strengths. He's going to be a coach to his strengths and do that, but I don't think he's going to turn the time back as much as people think he will, and Russell Wilson. I think the Raiders can make a lot more plays offensively than the Broncos, even though the Broncos don't have, even though the Broncos have a decent defense. They have playmakers all over that defense. My issue is, they don't have anything on offense they can rely on. That's like dominant. The offensive line is okay, I guess. You don't have that receiver that can make that big difference. Jerry Jeudy, don't know about him yet. He's still prospect. We don't know much about him. He's still unproven. Tight end, who do you have there? And, if maybe Russell Wilson can be a little bit better, but, I think 20 points is the cap for the Broncos. And if you can't score more than 20 points, I think the Raiders are going to have no problem, maybe a little difficult running the football. They may have a bit hard time running the football, but, they have a very good back in Josh Jacobs. The offensive line is decent. You have some pretty good receivers, Levante Adams, Hunter Renfrow. They have someone else I'm completely blanking on, but they have a few really good weapons on that offense. They have one of the better running backs in the league. They have the best receiver in the league in Levante Adams, a quarterback that can distribute it and, manage the game. You do have Josh McDaniels. He's back with Josh McDaniels. I don't see why the Raiders can't win this game, and I see a lot of people picking the Broncos just because, they have Sean Payton. Russell Wilson's going to look better. Hold on, Donkey Kong. We'll see. Well, I'm taking the Raiders, man. Here's my surprise. Here's my biggest upset of the week. I am taking the New England Patriots over the Philadelphia Eagles. And hear me out. I know it's wild, and even if you take a look at the matchup, the Eagles win it in every way. But I have a few things I want to go over. The Eagles have 2 new coordinators, offense and defensively. You lost quite a few players in defense. You have a lot of new players in defense. Offensively, pretty much the same. But the Patriots are going to limit one of those guys. They're going to. Now, the Patriots do call out a man. They like to show you different looks and blitzes and different man coverages, disguises. And I feel like that can maybe throw Jalen Hurts off early, especially with him, with new offensive coordinator. We'll see how Jalen Hurts can do year 2, because I think that's still a question on, can he do it 2 years in a row? He did it 1 year. Now, can he do it 2? Sometimes we see a quarterback have a really good second year or a really good first or second year, and then, they don't really keep it going. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to lose this one. It's, they're traveling to New England. It's, it's Bill Belichick. I think Mac Jones and this Patriots offense can have a strong start to the game. Now, I know, the Patriots do like to run the ball, and the Eagles' interior defense line is just absolutely insane. I can see the Patriots pulling off a big-time upset in Week 1. Now, I think the Eagles are one of the best teams in the league. They're a top 5 football team without a doubt. But remember, they're coming off that Super Bowl loss, and I just think there's a few different dynamics you could take into consideration and say, yeah, the Patriots have this one. There's a shot. It's Week 1. Weird things happen. And I can see the Eagles falling in Week 1. And then I want to see how they're going to respond to that in Week 2. Now, I could be very wrong. The Eagles could win this by 2 or 3 scores. Absolutely. I think it's a trap game in a way. I definitely think it's a trap game. I'm taking the Patriots. I'm telling you, man, I think this is going to be a shocker. But the Eagles will have a strong season, a very good season. Next matchup we have is the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. I took the Miami Dolphins in this one. Now, I was really going back and forth with this one. I might end up changing it, and if I do, I will change it on my Twitter and I'll, make a community post. But this one I might end up changing. I'm not 100% confident with the Dolphins, but I'm taking the Dolphins because Tua is going to be healthy. We don't know what Tua we're going to get, but he's going to be healthy. You've had a whole offseason to get him healthy. Mike McDaniel has had a whole offense to adjust things. You have Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle's questionable. I think he's going to play, though. Devin Achane, I think he's going to play. You have a really good running back room. Can run the darn football. The offense line is better than people think. I can see the Dolphins running the football a lot, playing a lot of small ball, and once in a while throwing it deep. I don't think there's anything the Chargers are going to be able to do about it. Now, the defense of the Dolphins is still very good too. The Chargers offensive line, they're healthy, but are they going to be great right away? Are they going to need a couple weeks to become the line that they want? They might. They might need a little while to to find their footing. And the Dolphins defensive line, Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips, I think they still have Van Ginkel. They have a really good defense. They have some good safeties. X is in there now. Jalen Ramsey isn't in. That definitely hurts. If you had Ramsey in, I think I would be much more confident with the Dolphins, honestly. Because, there's only so much Justin Herbert can do against the Dolphins. I mean, I like Herbert. I think he's a very good football player. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners in the league. You have Mike Williams. Can he stay healthy? He's going to be healthy for this game. I'm pretty sure he's in. And the Chargers offense, like I talked about, it's a little suspect. You have Austin Eckler. Love Austin Eckler. He's a very good back. Very good. Very good. But I think the Dolphins are going to be able to pull this one out. And as I'm talking about more, I'm thinking the Dolphins more and more. Because, I like Justin Herbert. And I like the weapons. But they have no defense. And I think that's going to be a difference. It might be an end-of-the-game scenario. The Chargers are up 30-28. Dolphins get, marched on the field and they kick a field goal to win it. I can absolutely see a scenario like that. So that's I was about to say. I was about to do my intro, and it's not even the video, guys. So a few matchups, man. But I'm taking the Miami Dolphins in the Week 1 matchup versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Next matchup, another divisional matchup. This time it's an NFC West. You have the Seattle Seahawks playing the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think this game is going to be that close. The Seahawks have a very good offense. JSN, DK, Tyler Lockett. That is a three-headed monster at the wide receiver core. Geno Smith. Whether Geno Smith is going to be as good as he was last year, he's going to take a bit of a step back. Team's got some film. Maybe he won't be as good. I still think the Seahawks could absolutely demolish the Rams. Now, it's a divisional matchup. It is Week 1. Weird things happen. And that's what I've said all video long. But I just think the Seahawks are flat out the better team. Now, it could be like a Colts situation. Matthew Stafford's healthy. And he's looking like the Matthew Stafford we know. We know Cooper Kupp is out. We do have Higbee. You do have a couple guys that can, I do like Cam Akers. The offensive line isn't great. And, the Seahawks could beat you on the defensive side. They have a decent defensive line. They have good linebackers. They have an incredible young cornerback tandem with Tariq Woolen and Devon Witherspoon. It's just, I don't think this Rams offense or this Rams defense is going to be able to stop a nosebleed. I don't think they're going to be able to stop this Seahawks offense. And the Seahawks could beat you passing or running the football. So, I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks on this one. I don't think it's, I think it's a pretty easy pick on the surface. I don't see the Rams winning this one. And I could very well be wrong. I might be wrong, but I don't see the Seahawks losing this one. I don't. All right. 2 matchups left. We have another divisional matchup. NFC East. Sunday Night Football. You have the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. So, I have this as a 2-score game. And I think the Giants are going to be both of these teams are going to be very good this year. They're going to be very good football teams. I think Dallas is one of the most talented teams in the league. The question never is the regular season. They're always great in the regular season. They just can't go over that hump in the playoffs. But versus the Giants, you're playing against a very young secondary, Deontay Banks, Trey Hawkins, and that young secondary is going up against Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and then you look at the Cowboys defense. It's one of the better defenses. I think it's going to be one of the best defenses in the league. You have Micah Parsons. They drafted a backer from LSU, and I think he's very underrated. He'd be a very good backer. You have Micah Parsons, Monty Smith in the middle, DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side, and then you go to the secondary. They just traded for Noah Igbenogany from the Miami Dolphins. He's one of the most athletic cornerbacks one of the most athletic athletes. He's a very electric athlete. You have Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore on the outside. It's a very good cornerback duo. And I know the Giants wide receiver core has gotten better. I like Jalen Hyatt. I love Isaiah Hodgins. They have a great tight end in Darren Waller, as long as he gets stay healthy. They have Saquon Barkley. The offensive line is very good. And I just think there might be, I can see a couple of mistakes happening from the Giants side of things. Maybe. But I'm more so taking the Cowboys because I think the Cowboys defense has a good shot at getting a couple stops more so than the Giants defense. I think that Giants defense is gonna, the Giants defense is really gonna struggle against that Cowboys offense. I'm not sure, and I think that Giants defense could maybe get a couple stops as well, but the Cowboys defense is very good too. And when you have the better defense, you have the better offense. I think the matchup is pointing to the Dallas Cowboys. And don't get me wrong, the Giants are going to be a very good football team this year. And the defense that they run with Wake Martindale, a lot of man coverage, exotic blitzes, are going to give you different looks that you're not used to seeing. And that could throw Dak Prescott off. Maybe, that Giants defense not being able to get a stop or two, maybe that's substituted with, them making a few plays on the ball. Maybe there's a miscommunication and Deontay Banks just gets a pick. Trey Hawkins gets a pick. Maybe Bobby Okereke, the linebacker, gets a pick. Maybe there can be a pick or two. Maybe you'll get a fumble. But if the Giants get up early in this one, say they go up 7 early, they definitely have the advantage. They go up 10-0, 10-7, 14-7. I think as long as the Giants can keep the lead and make the Cowboys keep up, and then the Cowboys make a mistake, I could then see the Giants really slowing down the game. I think the Giants can control the game big time in that type of situation. So it's vital for the Giants to get out early. If the Cowboys come out right away and, they score some touchdowns quick and, the Giants' offense is looking sluggish, then, and, the offensive line is struggling, let's say the Cowboys' defense line is on fire right away. But, defense is more difficult week one. It always is. But I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to take it. Now, like I said, if the Giants can get a couple, turnovers, maybe an interception, a fumble, maybe a special teams error by the Cowboys, that's the Giants' chance. I think that's what they're going to need to win this one. And they're going to have to capitalize on it too. Which, that offense is very good. They absolutely can. But Dallas Cowboys defense is going to be one of the best in the league. But remember in the early weeks, it's a little different sometimes. The best defenses sometimes don't emerge until October. Last but not least, another divisional matchup, this time the AFC East. You have the New York Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. And you have the newly looked Jets under Aaron Rodgers. You have Robert Saleh. You have a very good defensive line. Good cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. Good safeties. Nice linebackers. Defense is very good. Offense, I think both of their offensive lines are very similar. I think the Jets do win in weapons-wise. They have more collective weapons. They have a better running back. Would I say Aaron Rodgers is better right now? Maybe not. I would take, you know what? If you ask me right now, who are you taking for 1 year? Not for the next 5. Who are you taking for 1 year to give you a shot to make it all the way? I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Josh Allen any day. And that is because he is accurate. He is always going to make those passes that you need. Sometimes Josh Allen's throws are just off the mark and he misses wide open guys. Sometimes, when you hit Josh Allen and you get him frustrated and you get him flustered, Josh Allen tends to have a hard time getting refocused. That's not the case with Aaron Rodgers. You could hit him a couple times and he'll get up and he'll keep going. He's not going to... he could get flustered sometimes, but definitely not like Josh Allen does. He regains focus. The Jets are going to be a very good football team this year. And I think they're going to get the best of the Bills week 1. Monday Night Football. I think maybe the difference is the Bills don't have that, the second guy that you can count on, in the cornerback room. Who do you have on the other side of Tre'Davious White? The Jets have DJ Reed on the other side of Sauce Gardner. And DJ Reed is actually very good. He was pretty good last year. I think the Jets are going to take this one. I think that, with the Bills not being able to run the ball as well, with them maybe struggling on defense to get some pressure. They traded away Boogie Basham as well. I don't know why they did that. They do have a deep, defensive line. But I'm taking the New York Jets in this one, 27-24. So that is it for my weekly predictions. My hair is all screwed up, but that is it for my NFL Week 1 predictions. I appreciate all you guys for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, let me know. Appreciate you a ton. And feel free to give me your predictions and, down below in the comment section as well. I would love to hear them. I'd love to have some, to be talking about football down there. Please, you're more than welcome to. And that's all I've got for you guys today. So thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. As I said, we're doing predictions, picks, power rankings. I'm eventually going to be ranking rookies, at some point throughout the season. There's a lot to look forward to. And I'm excited to be on this ride with you guys. I'm excited to have you guys on this ride with me. So that's all I got from me. Thank you for tuning in. This is JDW Sports Talk Show, signing off.